So every day, there are thousands of applicants who are filing some type of immigration form to USCIS for the sake of claiming some type of US immigration benefit. Now, the challenge some of these applicants might have, especially when you're a first-time applicant, is not knowing what type of response that you're going to get from USCIS after submitting your immigration case. And so in this video, I'm going to be laying out and explaining the different types of responses that you can expect from USCIS when tracking the status of your immigration case. And that starts right now. Hey, it's Chucky here from SojournerScholar.com, the #1 platform that empowers international students and working professionals in the US. So your immigration journey with USCIS begins at the moment you mail in your application to USCIS. Now, it's usually recommended that when you mail your application to USCIS, you should request tracking information. The reason you want to do this might be quite obvious because you want to monitor the status of your application, but it's also very important to do this because in certain circumstances, you might want your application to get to USCIS before a particular deadline. A common scenario here tends to be the case of F-1 students in the US who are applying for optional practical training with USCIS. Now, once you confirm the delivery of your immigration application to USCIS, it's best that you save this confirmation of delivery in your records. The reason why this is important is that just in case USCIS says that they did not receive your application, you can have an evidence to show that your application was submitted to USCIS. Now, in most cases, when you receive a confirmation of delivery from your mailing service provider saying that your mail was received by USCIS, it's more than likely that USCIS would have actually received the application. It is quite rare to have circumstances where USCIS could lose your application after your mailing service provider has provided a confirmation of delivery of your application. So it is safe to say that once you've received the confirmation of delivery from your mailing service provider, your waiting game with USCIS officially begins. Now, the very first response you're likely to get from USCIS is a confirmation letter stating that your application for a particular immigration benefit was received. Now, this confirmation letter from USCIS is formally called a Form I-797 receipt notice, and it's usually delivered by USPS regular mail. Now, when you get this receipt notice, the most important section of this notice is a receipt number that you can find on the top left corner of the form. You are going to be using this receipt number moving forwards to track the status of your immigration application with USCIS on the USCIS Case Status Online tool. On this receipt notice, you're also going to find two important dates. The first date is the notice date, which is essentially the day USCIS generated this letter to be mailed to you. And the second date is the received date, which is the day USCIS confirmed the receipt of your application. Now, under normal circumstances where USCIS might have a fairly typical processing time, it might take about 4 weeks for you to receive this receipt notice. However, when USCIS has a severe backlog, it might take anywhere between 6 to 12 weeks to receive your receipt notice. Now, here I would like to point out that as a first-time filer, your mileage might vary. For example, you might have someone who submitted the exact same immigration petition to USCIS that you're submitting, and it takes them about 4 weeks to get a receipt notice, while you have to wait longer than 8 weeks to get your receipt notice. Now, once you've got your receipt notice and you've found your receipt number, you can now start tracking the status of your immigration case using the USCIS website. Now, if you want to learn how to do that, I'm going to include a video linked in the description section below that walks you through 4 best ways of tracking the status of your immigration case with USCIS. So now let's go over the different types of case updates you might get when tracking the status of your immigration case with USCIS. Now, once you've got your receipt number, if you enter this number into the USCIS Case Status tool, you're going to see a case update that says case was received. This is usually the first case update on your immigration case. Now, one of the hangups of the USCIS Case Status tool that frustrates a lot of applicants is that the tool does not give you specific details on your immigration case. So it's quite common to have a case update that says your case was received for several weeks until your immigration case is either approved or your immigration case is rejected or denied. So if you keep checking the status of your immigration case on this tool, don't be surprised to keep on seeing the update case was received for several weeks up until your application is approved or rejected. Now, another case update you might get in this time period is a case update that says that your case was transferred and the new office has jurisdiction. If you happen to get this case update, it simply means that USCIS has moved the application to another USCIS office simply because of a processing time issue. If this is the case, USCIS is also going to send you a letter in the mail explaining what new location your immigration application has been sent to and what you can expect to do if you have any further questions. So from this point on, you're only going to get the case update on the USCIS website if your application is either approved, rejected, denied, or if you receive a notice explaining that you need to provide further documents for your immigration application to be processed. So at this point, I'm going to be using the example of someone who's filed a Form I-765 for the employment authorization document with USCIS. So if you filed your Form I-765 and you've checked your case status and it says that your case was received, the next steps you might get will be either if your case is rejected, denied, or approved. So let's take the straightforward path that your application for your I-765 was approved. Well, what you can expect when you check your case status is that it's obviously going to display that your case was approved, and within a few days you're going to see another case update saying that a new card is being produced. Now, once your case has been approved, you can expect to receive another Form I-797. Well, this time it's going to be an approval notice explaining that your application for your employment authorization document EAD card was approved. Now, unless it's otherwise stated, this approval notice does not confer any immigration benefit to you. So you would have to wait until you've received your employment authorization document card before you could begin working. Now, within a few days of USCIS producing your EAD card, you're going to see a case update on the USCIS website saying that the card was mailed to you. And once this EAD card has been delivered to you, the case update is going to change to card was delivered to me by the post office. Now, USCIS usually sends out EAD cards by USPS regular mail, so you should check your mailbox for your EAD card. And also make sure to inspect this card closely, making sure that your biographical information, such as the spelling of your name and your date of birth, is correct on the card. Now, in the unfortunate circumstance that your application doesn't go as smoothly from case was received to case was approved, some other types of case updates you might expect on the USCIS website are case updates like a request for additional evidence was mailed. Now, this is usually called an RFE, and I've made a video again which you can find down in the description section below that explains the reasons why USCIS might issue a request for evidence and how you should go about responding to a request for evidence. Now, once you respond to the request for evidence and USCIS receives your response, your case update is going to change to response to USCIS request for evidence was received. And this is quite similar to the initial case updates that your case was received, in the sense that you might have to wait for several weeks to receive another response from USCIS, which could be that your case was approved, rejected, or further evidence is needed. Another case update you might get is an update that says that a notice explaining USCIS actions was mailed. And just like the case of the RFE, if you receive a case update like this, USCIS is going to send you a letter in the mail explaining the problems with your application and will tell you what documents you need to provide so that your application will be processed. And last but not the least, a possible case update you could see on the USCIS website is a case update saying that your application was rejected. Now, this could be caused for a multitude of reasons. Sometimes it could be that you provided an application on a form that had already expired, or sometimes it could be that you did not pay the right application fee. Now, for whatever the reason is in your rejection, USCIS is going to be providing a letter explaining the reasons why your application was rejected. And that's all we've got for this video. Like and share this with someone else you know who might be applying to USCIS. And if you're meeting for the first time, make sure to subscribe to this channel to catch up with more valuable content coming your way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.